What's up, y'all? I did a video with my guy Randy Williams, CEO of Tally and Twine Watch Company, and he's going to tell us how to create $1 million business. So make sure y'all check this video out. But I do want to apologize because the video is a little choppy because my internet connection is messed up. I'm on a business trip. I'm on the road, so in the hotel, Wi-Fi's not that good, okay? But I gave y'all the best that I could give you, so hope y'all enjoy this content. What's up, y'all? AJ Simmons here with another great interview for y'all. I got my guy, a guy who I look up to in this entrepreneur space, Mr. Randy Williams. What's up, Randy?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me, AJ, man.
No problem. Thank you for even taking the time out. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on, and he is the owner of the watch company, Tally and Twine. Not too often you hear about a person like you ask somebody, what do you do? And they say, I own a watch company. So that's huge. That's why he really caught my attention. And then the fact that he's in my hometown, Portsmouth, Virginia. So shout out to you again, man. So I'm going to jump right into it. And the first question is always, just give us a little background for anybody who's not familiar with you or Tally and Twine as a company. Just kind of give us an overview about your background story and how you got started and everything.
Yeah, well, Tally and Twine is a consumer watch brand that focuses on young professionals, offering detailed timepieces at an affordable price. But also, someone asked me the other day what makes us different from other watch companies. And I said, and I believe that we are the most culturally relevant watch company in the world right now. I don't think any other company is touching people and being a part and injecting themselves in the culture as much as us, no matter who they are. That being said, we're going into our 5th year, watches and accessories brand based right here in Portsmouth, Virginia. And we're strictly based online. We're e-commerce first brand. And, just been learning the ropes ever since then, man, just building one day at a time, one customer at a time.
Man, that's what's up. And so I'm gonna be honest right now for the people listening. This interview is for me. It's not for y'all. I'm really trying to pick this man's brain. So a lot of these questions, y'all gonna be like, "How you just jump into that?" And it's like it's because this guy got to look him up, man. He got a lot of interviews out there on different podcasts and stuff. So and he done told he answered a lot of these questions a million times already. So I tried to do it, ask some different questions for once. And so funded the company with the crowdfund mechanism. And so
right.
Like, how did you have the courage to do crowdfunding without feeling obligated to like offer any equity or anything?
Well, it didn't take a lot of courage because that was the only choice I had. I didn't have 25,000 laying around. I didn't know anybody to ask to get it from. And I saw it as a viable option for funding the company. I saw, just being a fan of Kickstarter, which pretty much introduces new products to the market, stuff that isn't out, quirky little new designs or new types of technology. I have been following the site for a while and had participated in a couple of them myself as a customer. And I realized that, man, this is an opportunity for me as well. At the time, watches were really picking up a lot of steam. And there were some crappy watches getting funded on Kickstarter as well, man. They were bad. So I knew I could make a dent in that marketplace. But as far as the courage not to offer equity, nobody asked for equity. And equity isn't expected during crowdfunding anyway. They just want the product. So essentially, for those who might not be familiar with it, it's a pre-order. You're just having faith in a new company, a startup company, most times, that they will deliver on a product that they say they are going to. And usually that product hasn't been created fully yet. So
that's what's up. So did you have to promote the fund at all, or was it all Kickstarter pretty much doing the legwork as far as promoting it?
Yes. So the good thing is Kickstarter itself provides a good bit of traffic. However, once the platform has become so popular like it is now, everybody's fighting for that traffic. So the platform itself promotes people who are generating a buzz. So you're not going to wind up on any of the front pages unless you already generated a buzz. So it's much like owning an independent record label or being an independent artist. You can't get a deal unless you generate your own buzz online. It kind of works the same way. So what I had to do was tap into my own personal network to give it that spark so that people will come and visit the page. And then from there, we were able to get organic traffic. But a good amount of the traffic that I generated was from myself and my own efforts.
Okay, cool. That's what's up, man. So now, any tips or anything that you would recommend to somebody looking to do like a Kickstarter to fund their company?
A couple months ago. But the biggest thing is just to understand that the landscape of that crowdfunding has changed. And like you said, that was a great question. You've got to generate the traffic yourself. So it's not enough just to have a good product. You got to have something that people are actually interested in. And then also you've got to go out and generate traffic. What most people don't know is these big campaigns that raise millions, hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, is they are paying people to promote them. You know, these people are launching full scale online campaigns, launching social media ads, create traffic to that particular campaign. They treat it just like if you had a landing page for a product that you were selling already. They treat it the same way. They put thousands of dollars in promoting that. And so they actually have crowdfunding companies that will attach themselves to your campaign. You can pay them based on, you know, the amount of money that you raise through the fund, and they'll take a percentage of that. But as far as being the little guy just posting the video, I think those days are gone on Kickstarter. You kind of actually have to put some muscle behind it. It's even, you know, worse than when I started.
Gotcha. Okay. Now I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I want to jump into, first off, I want to say congratulations on your new headquarters. I see you got a office that I believe you purchased. And so I wanted to kind of ask the details of that process. Like, did it involve personal credit at all when you did that?
Yeah, thank you, man. No, it did not involve personal credit.
Okay.
I had a relationship with a bank, and with the VP of that bank, and he kind of guided me. I mean, for years, I've been asking him how to telling him that I wanted to purchase property, not just for the office building, but investment property in general. And so, you know, he kind enough to take out his time and answer my questions, basically saying that, helping me prepare to get ready for that. You know, what do I have? The reason I didn't use any personal credit is because it's a headquarters for the company. So that being said, they look at your financials for the last 3 years, 2 to 3 years, depending on the bank or whatever. So I had to get my books in order, in my balance sheet, to kind of say, okay, this is what you're going to be looking for. If you want to purchase a property worth X amount of dollars, it is amount that you got to show in profits each year.
Okay.
And then you want to, okay, so X amount of profit this year, we should do X plus whatever percentage this year. So he kind of guided me, him and another banker guy, broker, that does funding as well. They kind of guided me and showed me, you know, how my book should look. And then from there, I went out and found a property. You know, the biggest thing is just getting the down payment, because most people don't know it, but with a commercial property, the down payment is 20% as opposed to 10% for a home. So if you buy a building that's 100,000, you need to come to the table with 20 G's. And that was a big hindrance because it creates a cash flow crunch. So that being said, I stumbled upon the SBA 504 program. You can Google that, but what that is, it allows you to put down 10% as opposed to 20%. So it's a huge savings.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I found a company that works with businesses who are applying for that program, but definitely a huge underutilized program. But I did the 504 program. The 10%. Well, I still had to put down 20%, but it's kind of like they pay you back for your down payment. And you know, through my relationship with the banker, he made sure everything was in tip-top shape as far as my paperwork. So it was a huge undertaking. And I learned a lot along the way. You know, after you go through stuff like that, you realize it's a lot easier than you thought it was going to be. But the biggest thing is making sure your paperwork is in order. And then also understanding what's best for your business. So a lot of people lease, but I chose to buy because number one, I could get it for 10% down as opposed to 20, so it wouldn't create that much of a cash flow crunch. I could own the building, which means I could do what I wanted to do with it. If I wanted to sublease out an office in there, I could do that. And then also the cost for leasing was dramatic than it would be if I purchased the building outright.
Yeah.
And then also I looked at the fact that I would have an asset in the business name as well. So taking all those factors into account, I decided to purchase.
That's what's up, man. You gave out a ton of value on this. So I truly do appreciate you spelling it out for me like that. And, you know, with me being from that area, the moment I saw it, the office that you got, number one, I was like, man, that's the one, that's the area I wanted my office to be in. So I love that area. And I was like, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a hub zone. And so when I looked it up, and lo and behold, it is still a hub zone. So were you aware of that before you purchased? And like, is there a strategy behind that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, you know, if you said you're planning on moving back, you also want to know about the IBOG grant. Mm-hmm. So knowing that the property was in a hub zone, it qualifies for a local incentive program. One of those programs is called IBOG, Interior Build Out Grant. And that you don't have to purchase it to participate in it, but you can also lease and still get the grant. But pretty much they will pay for 50% of your build out costs. So you spend $25,000, they'll pay you $12,500 back for your build out costs. Even if you spend $2,000, they'll give you $1,000 back. They'll pay for 50% of those costs up to, I think the max out is $25,000, the max payout. So you can do a build out for 50 G's and they will give you $25,000 back, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
So that was big too, because, you know, even though we don't have to do any major construction in there, just stuff like floor, paint, putting up some sheetrock can kind of add up. So that was a big draw for me as well.
Okay. What's up, man? Now, I believe you were in your 5th year in business, or you've already been somewhere around there, about 5 years in business now. So, like, what could you phase out of that startup phase now? What can you tell to the people who are still in that startup phase? What some of the things that you kind of learned that you wish you knew beforehand?
Yeah, it's all a learning process, man. I think I look at it differently from most people because I think business owners are too hard on themselves. Like, the goal is to be in business, you know, and oftentimes when we get started, we start comparing ourselves to other people who may be moving faster than us. You know, well, I'm not this person, I'm not this company. I'm on my own journey. And I think that if you look at it like you're getting paid to educate yourself on how businesses works, how business works, then it's a win-win no matter what happens. I think all too often we're too hard on ourselves and we want to become $1 million company right out of the gate. And in doing so, you kind of take risks and do things for clout that you wouldn't normally do if you were thinking rationally. You know, we'll pay a celebrity $5,000 to post our product so we can tell people about it, but it doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? Like, we think we need this major celebrity endorsement, and we spend all of our time and energy doing that because we want to go from 0 to 100 overnight. And most businesses don't work like that. And the truth be told, most people can't sustain that type of growth anyway. You know, you haven't learned enough as an entrepreneur to sustain that type of growth. You don't have systems in place. You know, you don't even have a training program in place. You had to hire 10 people today. You wouldn't know what to do with them. And that being said, approach it as a learning tool. You know, be focused on growth. I'm not saying not to be focused on growth, but money is not the primary thing. I think that's the reason that Tally and Twine has gotten this far, is we've always been focused on the long-term picture of what it means to be a great brand in this country. And in order to be a great brand, I got to be thinking 10, 20, 30 years into the future. I'm not focused about making $1 today. So there were times I could have sold, you know, 100 watches in a day at the expense of my own personal brand. I would have made some cash, but I knew that, you know, either the product wasn't right or the business dealings with this particular person wouldn't be a good look long term for us. And so you got to make those decisions with the long term goal in mind. But the more you learn over the course of the journey, you're always going to be able to reapply that to something else, to another business. You know, and if you keep that in mind along the way, man, before you know it, you know, you'll be at your 5th year, man.
All right, now, what you saying that, because you say it's basically like getting paid to basically study business. That's a good ass way of looking at it. And so I'm wondering, like, what are some of the things that you do or used to do, even coming up, to stay motivated and stay focused?
Yeah, I hear people saying that a lot, and I think about that motivation question a lot because I've never had a problem being motivated, because I just love business and I love being creative. I love creating things. So when I'm in that vein of things that I like to do, it's not difficult to stay motivated. And so to give you some background, I came from a very small town in Georgia called Camilla, Georgia. Population probably like less than 10,000. And, you know, the biggest store in town was Walmart, and it wasn't a super Walmart. It's a regular Walmart. And that being said, man, like being raised by my grandmother and growing up with not a lot, when I saw that there was a world outside of that town, it really motivated me. It really inspired me. And I didn't need anybody to say, hey, go be great, go do something with your life. Because I saw too many people not doing anything with their lives. And I said I wasn't going to be one of those people. And so ever since I was small, I had that belief system. But also I think that's how I stumbled upon entrepreneurship and business. Is I viewed that as a way out. I viewed that as a way out of the small town, a way to get to the big city, and a way to do something that would allow me to have financial freedom, financial independence, to have success. And so that's how I started that journey, because I just view entrepreneurship as a way out. That's even more true now today than it is, not only for you as an individual, but for your race. If you're an African American, economic empowerment is one of those things that's going to give us that equality that we've been looking for. You know, so for me, I just love business. And if people are struggling with motivation, I would say to them, find stuff that you care about and attach yourself to that. Don't attach yourself to the money, because you'll be surprised how often money is not a factor in your motivation. You know, actually, when you're making a business and a lot of money start coming in, most people get scared. You know what I'm saying? Because it represents this huge responsibility. So when I think about Tally and Twine being successful, I don't think about how much money we make. I think about the impact that I'm able to make. I think about, you know, the guy at the high school who just can't believe that a black man owns a watch company, and now he's inspired to do that. I think about the local nonprofits we're able to help through our donations that get overlooked by everybody else because they're not the American Red Cross or some household name. And we're able to impact those people, impact our community. Those are the things that keep me motivated. You got to build a business that's bigger than you. When you do that, I think that ultimately helps you with the motivation process as well.
Gotcha. Now, I'm wondering about, like, Tally and Twine, the name of your company. I know the story, and it's named after the two streets that intersect in Portsmouth, in the older area, out of Barber, which was historically a crime-ridden neighborhood in Portsmouth. And you named the company after that because it kind of turned around and revitalized it. It's a nice area now. And so I'm wondering, why didn't you name it? How did you get so attached to that, to Portsmouth, and just, you know, be able to get there and settle down and call it home? Like, do you ever miss being at home? And is there any street, like, you know, you could have named it after some streets in your hometown, but why did Portsmouth or Tally and Twine kind of resonate with you so much?
A few reasons. Number one, I realized when I got here to Virginia is that after growing up in Georgia my whole life, went to school in Georgia, went to college in Georgia, Black communities are not that different. City to city and state to state, we're pretty much the same. You know, we have very similar upbringings. Now, I grew up in a really small town, but we didn't have a lot of violence like that. And so when I heard the reputation of this neighborhood and saw what it was today, I was like, man, you know, it's such a transformation that it's inspiring, you know. And Virginia and Portsmouth is a place where I started my family. And so that's why Portsmouth is significant to me, because my wife and I moved here once we got married, you know, had our first child here. And so the city is still diamond in the rough. If you're familiar with Hampton Roads, you know that Portsmouth is the redheaded stepchild. It's the town that everybody wants to count out. It's the town that everybody wants to discount and say that it's nothing good gonna come from there. And I represent the underdogs, man. You know, so I'm one of those people that wants to see the city win. And anybody that's like that, where you've been discounted all your life, people say that you're not gonna be anything, that is a huge motivating factor. Things you're gonna be, it's all about what you think you're gonna be and how much you're willing to apply yourself.
Right.
That was the biggest thing. But as far as getting homesick, no, I don't get homesick because there was nothing at my home. So it's not like I was leaving something behind. But I tell you, it's a small town. It's super slow, man. So it's nothing. So once I graduated from college, I haven't since. So I couldn't wait to leave.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, as far as like staff, you know, you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier about systems and stuff. What is it that you can kind of share with us about, you know, hiring, managing staff, all of those types of things?
Yeah. I kind of looked up on the people that work for me, as far as the staff is concerned, because they were people that I knew. One of them was a former coworker. When business started, she had been out on maternity leave, and I know she wasn't able to offer her a part-time position that with a lot of flexibility, allow her to still spend time with her daughter and not be away from her too much. She was so young. And so that worked perfectly. But I just knew from working with her that she had great attention to detail, great customer service. I knew she would be perfect for the position. So I'm just blessed that she was even available during that time, because I wouldn't have known what else to do. And the second hire that I made was a friend of my wife's. We know which can get a little shaky, but she's been great as well. I already knew that she had a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs. And I said to myself, if she comes work for me, she doesn't have to work the other jobs. I can pay her as much as she's making on those 2 little jobs, and she'll be happy. You know, she won't have to commute, you know, and it'll be a lot easier. You won't have crazy people to deal with. I thought it would be a no-brainer for her. And it was, you know, so she came around as well and started working with her. And then a lot of the people that we work with are contractors who we use on a contract basis for things like photo, videography, etc. And that being said, the tips that I would have for people who specifically run a small organization is, and I got this from a book by Mike McCallowitz that you and I discussed before, is treat your employee structure like a web instead of a line. So people need to be able to do multiple things. So it's inefficient to hire somebody just to answer emails when they could be answering emails and also doing fulfillment as well. You see what I'm saying? They can be doing customer service, but they can also be assembly as well, you know, and if the time allows for all of that, it's a great opportunity to kind of show everybody different parts of the business. But what you'll also see emerge from that is people will find things that they like to do more than others. And as you bring other people on, you kind of phase them out of some of the things that they don't like to do and bring in somebody else who likes to do the things that, you know, that they don't like to do. So just stay fluid as possible is what I would say to a new business. It's scary hiring people, but you got to understand that once you hire somebody, it's going to free you up to grow the company, and it's going to increase revenue.
Yeah.
So you should be able to say, okay, if I hire a person at X miles per hour, this is how much money I expect to make because of the newfound efficiency in the business. But there's no way you can grow if you're doing everything yourself. And that's a huge thing that I see a lot of small business owners do, is they try to do everything themselves because they feel like they're the only ones who can do it, or they feel like they need to do it. But you're actually hindering yourself. I still feel like I waited too long to bring other people on. But hire help as soon as you can is my suggestion.
That's a good point. That's something that I teach like to my clients is hire from day. As soon as you can hire, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start them off as fast as you can. And that was a good point too that you brought up from the Clockwork book that you discussed. I kind of forgot about that, but that's a good point, because instead of just hiring somebody to fix that one need, you know, have them doing multiple things. And one of the things too that I noticed, because at first I was kind of scared to train one person to do so many things, because I'm like, wait a minute, if this person leaves, that's gonna be a lot to cover. You know what I mean? If this person leaves, but one thing I learned was people actually feel more valuable to the company, and people a lot of times that alone can keep somebody with you long term, when they feel like they're important and relevant to the company. So that's just, I just wanted to point that out too. That's a good tip, man.
I agree.
Yeah. And now one thing too with entrepreneurship is I learned too that I try to stay away from politics, but sometimes you need to know what's going on in politics in order to, you know, because it's your business. And so I'm wondering, like, with the tariffs that they're talking about, again, I'm not into politics, I don't really know what's going on, but I know it's something about tariffs, and I'm wondering, is that affecting you in any way?
Not right now, but it could. I have noticed over the last couple of years an increase in the amount of tariffs that we pay when we import different materials. But that being said, it hasn't affected us too much to the point where it's a significant portion of the business. But I pay attention to it because as more sanctions come against China, where, you know, we import the most items from there as far as the United States is concerned, it's a huge issue because we don't have factory jobs here. So are you going to spend 50 hours a week making a watch component that's this small in the United States for an affordable wage, when people here are fighting for, they want $15 minimum wage, when somebody overseas, not even China or another country, can do it for pennies on the dollar, you know? So it's a huge issue to see how it turns out. And the president seems to believe that factory jobs are coming back, but I don't think people want those jobs. I think we don't even have the infrastructure for it. It would be a 20-year thing that we would take on if we were trying to do it, and I don't think it'll work either way. So that being said, I think it's definitely something to watch long term, and even for the consumer. You know, places like Bed Bath & Beyond and these big retailers who are already struggling because of the transition to online, they are going to experience the bulk of that hurt. Even places like the Dollar Tree, you know, where do you think they get that stuff made at? You know, why do you think they can sell it for so cheap? Because they buy millions and millions of pieces of worth of it, and from overseas. So that being said, it's going to be a huge issue to watch. But at the same time, I understand that, you know, the United States wants to be more of an exporter, not an importer. But honestly, you know, those jobs have gone away and I don't see them coming back. So I'm keeping a watchful eye on it. But as a consumer and a business owner, you should too, if there's any sort of materials that you use that are imported.
All right, yeah, appreciate that, man. Now, this is going to be more of a personal question, and some people might be like, well, what this got to do with business? But I just want to ask you this because I know Dame Dash is a person who is a well-known entrepreneur, and I know that he smokes a lot. You know, regardless of what it is, he smokes a lot. You know what I mean? And then, and then you got Jay-Z on the other hand, where historically, from my research, he tends to do his best to stay away from smoking or drinking as much as possible because for his reasons. So I just wanted to ask you, are you a frequent, or would you say you regularly smoke or drink?
Nah, I don't. I don't smoke at all, but I drink sometimes. But I think it's all about the individual because I know when I like stuff, I like a lot of it. And so that's why I never started doing drugs, because I always felt that I would get addicted to it. I knew I was going to get addicted to it. That kind of addiction runs in my family, you know, to be honest, mother and father. So that being said, you know, I always approach that with a very skeptical eye. so that I wouldn't get addicted to it. But honestly, I don't need those types of things, and they typically slow me down. Even alcohol slows me down. Like, I can't drink 2 glasses of wine at night and then get up and run in the morning. I'll be sluggish. You know what I'm saying? So I like to get my mornings off to a fast start, and drinking doesn't really allow me to do that. When I'm out with my wife or we're going on vacation or something, I'll have some drinks, and every now and then I'll have some wine or something. But I typically don't like to do it heavily because, like I said, I'm all about how I feel personally, and I don't like to be bogged down. And alcohol makes me sleepy, man. And I work so much that when you already fatigued, you don't need more alcohol. You gonna fall asleep, man. My eyes be burned if I start drinking something. But I'm all about people putting stuff in their body, man, that's gonna help them, man. Long term, a lot of alcohol is not good for you. Same thing with smoking. No matter what it is, smoking is just inefficient means. Even if you say you're doing it medicinally, it's an inefficient means of delivering the plant to your body, the good parts of the plant to your body, because you're taking in all these carcinogens just to get it there. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways of getting cannabis to your body to stop pain, like, other than smoking it. So, to each his own, but not for me.
Right. Now, I see you touched on the running part, and I want to ask you about that too, because I try to get up and work out every morning. And I'll be honest, sometimes when I'm out there, I'll ask myself, why am I even doing this? Like, obviously for my health, but outside of my health, it's like, I ain't there to go box nobody. You know what I mean? I'm not finna fight no more. Like, them days is over. So it's like, why am I even motivated to keep working out this hard? So I just want to know, what is your answer to that?
Yeah, man, we only get one body. So I want to take care of it. I'm 37. So when you start getting close to 40, you get these aches and pains. And then you start seeing, like, your face get fat, you start getting a belly, stuff like that, man. So I'm like, man, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be in tip-top condition. Once we graduate, when we start working in corporate environments specifically, you sit down a lot, and it's just so unhealthy. We move way less than our parents and grandparents used to move. They work with their hands a lot. But we are privileged enough to sit in climate control offices, and that's really hurting us. I saw something that said sitting is more dangerous or as dangerous as smoking, sitting for 8 hours a day. And then I had started developing issues like with my back was hurting. I knew it was all related to sitting in front of a freaking computer. And so that being said, I'm like, man, I got to get up and get active. I just was really motivated one day. I didn't read anything. I didn't look at any videos. I just put on some shoes. I bought some shoes, TJ Maxx or something like that. And I just started running. You know what I'm saying? See how far I could run, how fast I could run. And I started doing like a half a mile, turned into a mile. And I started doing 2. Next thing I know, I was pushing myself. I would try 3, taking some time, but I ran a personal best last week of a little bit over 6 miles. And it is like one of the best things you can do in the morning in terms of productivity is getting that blood circulating. I'm sure on those days you do work out, you see that you're more productive. But it really does release endorphins and get your blood circulating. You have a heightened sense of awareness. You make better decisions. So there's a long-term aspect of your health. And I just had I got a daughter that's 3 years old, man. So, I got to be around, and I want to be an active father. I want to be pushing me in a wheelchair at graduation. Right. So there's the health component, and then there's also the productivity component. The days that I get up and work out are the most productive days. By 12, I've already done more than most people do in a week.
That's what's up, man. All right, now I'm going to jump back into the business a little bit now, and I want to ask you about investors. Do you ever think that you might bring in some outside investors?
It's possible, only if it makes sense though, and only if they're able to add value. So if I bring in outside investors, they got to be able to, I'll say, hey, this is what we're going to bring to the table to help Callie and Twine grow. But I have had people ask me about investing in the company before and contact me early on, and I just wasn't interested in it. Went ready, because I feel like we just scratching the surface of where we can go and where we can be. And I'm just figuring things out now, you know, so I got 100 different things I want to implement that I know I can do before we even start looking at stuff like that. But I'm always open to that type of investment, but you know, they got to bring a real big bag, you know, to invest with us.
Right, absolutely, got to be worth it. And speaking of a big bag, I want to go into selling now. To me, I think that Tally and Twine is probably the most prominent watch company, black-owned watch company, period. So, is there do you think you're obligated to keep that within the Black community? Like, would you sell it to not investors, but would you sell it to a buyer who isn't Black?
No, I don't think it would be a good investment for them either. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, we're one of the most culturally relevant brands in the space right now. So it just wouldn't fit. Like, it would be suicide for them to purchase a company that's so heavily related to Black culture and then make it white owned. That kind of just goes against everything we stand for. We highlight entrepreneurs. We highlight Black entrepreneurs in our advertising and our marketing. So it just wouldn't be a fit. You know, so ideally, if we did sell, it would be, you know, to a Black-owned investment group. Because when we sell, I want there to be an opportunity for them to continue to make money so that it's a win-win. You know, any smart investment group would look at that and say, hey, look, if we want to do something with this company, this is what they have to do. Or, but if we did sell to a non-Black company, it would be okay if we could retain ownership.
Yeah.
A large percent of the ownership.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because, and I'm gonna explain why. Because, and not just because I'm Black and I want you to stay Black on all that, but most importantly because I thought this through a lot. I watched an interview with Bob Johnson, Sheila Johnson, his ex-wife. And she explained about them selling BET and how people always got on them about doing it. But she was saying how they offered them $1 billion. Like, you know, you don't, that's hard. You can't just walk away from $1 billion. She was saying how they can take that money and invest in so many more other things and impact the culture even more versus just that one company that they had. So, and so I get it from both perspectives. But I was just thinking, you know, if I could do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have sold it to somebody that wasn't Black, only because, you know, ownership is what controls everything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, but that was a good answer to hear. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Hey, it's hard to turn down $1 billion, bro. It's hard to turn down $1 billion. I ain't gonna lie. If somebody come to me with one of those, because it's like, you got to remember what you got in the game for. I always tell people this too. You got to remember what your goal is for starting a company. You're trying to build generational wealth. Somebody giving you an opportunity to do that. You don't, wealth for one company when you can go create 25 of them. You can create 25 Black-owned businesses. You know what I'm saying? Now I can be an angel investor and invest in 20 other guys and help them get to $10 million, $20 million. You see what I'm saying? So the least of my concerns is looking like a sellout to people.
Right.
Because you can't make decisions based on that. I got to make decisions for my grandkids. Right. So that being said, if you're able to create enough value and you feel like it's the right time to sell, whatever the marketplace is telling you, go for it, man. And remember what you came for. I think Jay-Z said that maybe we forgot what we came for. This is what we wanted to do. Somebody gives you a chance to do that, you go ahead and do it. So I feel him too. I feel both sides. I'm just like you.
Right. Okay. Another question that's selfish just for me because I need to know this because I'm going to use this if it applies. How does Quad Pay work? I see that you're using it with Tally and Twine now. Is Quad Pay paying you that up front and then, you know, the installments go straight to them, or are you getting installments as well?
No, that's the beautiful thing about Quad Pay. There's a few other ones too. Quad Pay, Klarna, and one other one. I can't think of the name. But anyway, they pay you up front. So the risk is taken on their side. The person sets up an account with Quad Pay or a similar company, and they will make them payments over 6 weeks, interest-free payments over 6 weeks. So yeah, we get paid right up front when they purchase it. The customer gets the item just like they would like a normal transaction, and then Quad Pay is responsible for collecting that money on the back end. there is a small percentage of the sale that you pay to Quad pay for using that service. So that's how they make their money.
Okay, that's what I appreciate you sharing that with me, man. And I'm almost finished. I only got 3 more questions left, but I'm gonna answer this one now, just to make sure that people get this information. Anybody looking to follow you and follow your journey on social media, how can they find you?
Yeah, at Tally and Twine on Instagram and Facebook, and then at CEO Randy on Instagram and Facebook. So CEO Randy and Tally and Twine, AND.
All right, cool, man. Now, is there anybody in particular that you follow, or any in books too that you want to refer? But is there anybody like personalities, I guess, like on social media, anything that you follow?
Nah, not it's a lot of good information out there, but I just don't typically have time to follow what people post. But when I see stuff, I just run across it and I save it. A page that I really like is Diamond Cuts Media on Instagram, but they share a lot of off the beaten path stories about Black entrepreneurs, like people that you might have not heard of, like Michael Lee Chin, Black billionaire. And tips and suggestions, like advice from those people as well. It's called Diamond Cuts Media. But other than that, no one person that I particularly follow that I can think of that comes to mind. But as far as books, the last book I read that I like is called Outsiders.
Oh yeah, Outliers.
No, I'm sorry. I read Outliers because Malcolm Gladwell is one of my favorite authors. But Originals by Adam Grant.
Gotcha.
And that book just talks about trendsetters, people who have taken on the task of trying something new. What are the qualities behind them? Even stuff like, why do certain songs take off and other ones don't? As far as music is concerned, people fighting for voting rights and team dynamics, all that type of stuff. It's one of those really big fact with a bunch of facts. So if you like Malcolm Gladwell, you'll love that book. But it talks about historically stories behind a lot of that stuff that has happened. And if you consider yourself to be a trendsetter, what types of things and qualities would you want to have? I also read Rick Ross's book, Hurricanes, and that was good.
Okay.
So I try to mix it up with business and then like memoir style books. I love biographies and stuff. So that helps my brain relax from constantly feeding it business information.
And you know what? I hate to lie to the people and to you, but I just thought about 2 more questions that I got to ask before I let you go.
Yeah.
Last question. How many years in business did it take before you finally hit that $1 million level?
Just this year.
Right. And I want to show people that people need to understand that, like, it's going to take some time. You know what I mean? Some of y'all might take 10. You know what I mean? You just don't know. So I want to point that out. And the other question I wanted to ask you before I get to my last one is features. I see that you were featured in a lot of different, magazine publications, things like that. Did you seek that out, or did they seek you out?
Man, to this day, I never sought out to be on any publication. I'll take that back. When I was doing my Kickstarter campaign, my wife submitted a press release to the Virginia Pilot, and they actually picked it up. They came to my house, did a story on it and everything. Man, I was shocked. And this is just a funding campaign, this crowdfunding campaign. Like, we don't even have, we haven't sold anything yet. But that was a huge blessing. But that was the only PR we ever sought after. We have never tried to go after PR, man. We just blessed enough that people, hear the story and they want to talk to me, But that's never been a part of our business plan yet, man. I just never got around to it. Right. But, we always get some sort of feature somewhere.
Right, exactly. And that's why I like you the most, man, because you the type of guy, just my assumption and my judgment of you, like, you the type of guy that you're going to get the money first. You're going to build the business first. You're going to focus on doing the thing before you go out and tell everybody, look what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And that's what I know. So, because it's hard. And I know, too, like, for a lot of people, like I asked my wife the other day, because I use hashtags a lot so people can find me and, purchase from my business. And my wife uses hashtags, too. And I asked her, I said, how come you use hashtag? Just out of curiosity, you know, because I wanted to see what her answer was, because I know why I'm doing this stuff. And then her answer was, well, I just want to motivate anybody, whoever come across it. I hope I'm motivating them. And so I know some people like to do that because it's motivation for themselves to put it out there to people. But it's just amazing how you can you just win it. You just keep winning. And you know what I mean? You don't have to put it out there.
Yeah.
You already got it within.
I think we got somewhere along the line the last few years, people got it backwards, man. Like, they think that because they self-promote that they're going to be successful. No, you be successful, you won't have to self-promote. You know what I'm saying? You just do it. That's your best form of promotion, is being successful at being good at what you do. And I realized that when I started Tally and Twine, because I was trying to do speaking as well. You know, I wrote 2 books, and I was trying to do them both at the same time, but it was really burning me out, trying to promote the speaking biz and travel, and then also build a watch company on the side as well. Now I'm working full time. And so I was like, I have to drop one of these. And I read in this book somewhere, it said, which one of these things, this is how you make a decision on what you should do. Which one of these things is going to help make all the other things possible? Which one thing, I think it's called in that book, The One Thing, by the real estate guy, Keller Williams. But which one thing is going to make all these other things possible? And for me, it was Tally and Twine. If I make Tally and Twine successful, it's going to give me my time freedom, it's going to give me financial freedom, and it's going to allow me to boost my speaking career. Because guess what? I don't have to promote myself as a speaker anymore, because now I'm the CEO of a successful company and people want to talk to you. And so everything connected from that one thing. So instead of spending time trying to do all 5, I focused in on one, and then everything else started to flourish after that.
But that's interesting, and it's just amazing to me, man, because it's like, because you did want to be a speaker, and maybe do, but you see all these other people on Instagram and social media, and they out here speaking, and they ain't really done nothing. And so I want to ask you, how do you stay quiet and not just be like, look, or not even be like, look, like you can call nobody out, but not be inspired to start pushing your stuff more, start getting on social media, start speaking, you know, a little bit more, kind of like how I do, you know what I mean, more in a motivational style, just because you know that a lot of the people out there probably talking nonsense anyway, you know, comparison to somebody who actually building and doing this stuff. Like, how do you just not even participate?
It's easy, man, because number one, I think a lot of people are looking for validation from other people. That's why they start a company, and then 3 months later, they're telling people how to do it, and they hadn't made a dime. They looking for validation. They looking for you to tell them how great they are. I don't get hyped up because people tell me I'm great. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't bother me, and I don't look for it. I don't seek attention like that. How did old guy say? How did Terrence Howard say it in that movie? The people doing the walking ain't the people doing the talking. Right? I'm fulfilled every day because I'm doing what I want to do. I'm running a successful business, and I don't need to tell you about it to make me feel better. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. A lot of people need that warm encouragement. That's why people post selfies and be like, I can't say what's wrong with me. Just pray for me. So why are you even on here? You know what I'm saying? So people just looking for attention, man. Like, they just do weird stuff all the time, man. And I just don't get it. And to me, everything needs to be authentic. I really genuinely enjoy motivating and teaching people. It's not a career for me. Some people's career is teaching people so they can make money off of them, which is fine. It's not a career for me. I would do that for free. So if I achieve financial freedom with Tally and Twine, I'll come and speak for free. You know what I'm saying? If my schedule allows for that. And so you got to decide which business you in. You know what I'm saying? If your business is in speaking, hey, look, that's what you're going to focus your energy on. But my business is, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm going to continue to build businesses. And along that way, I'm going to share the strategies with people. And I think the people who are just smoking mirrors, ultimately, they're going to not be around for very long. People will find out sooner or later that they're not real.
Exactly. Because I definitely started off premature. I wanted to teach so bad, and I wanted to be one of those people. Then I realized I probably want to get a business first. You know what I mean? Before I start doing all of this stuff. Like, because I tell people this all the time. I actually was on YouTube talking, while I was still working at the shipyard and didn't have a business yet. And I was like, wait a minute. Before I do that, I probably need to have something, to validate. Because, like, obviously I had business experience before that, but it's like, okay, you must have failed.
Yeah.
You ain't got it no more. So it's like, you better go business. I'll be honest, like, that was my motivation to really build a business because I always wanted to teach from the beginning. So, but yeah, man, you the truth. That's all I can say, though. Like, for real, I really, like, this is a dude, for y'all don't know, this is the guy. If you and CBN, and you know that this is the guy that I talk about a lot in that group. I look up to you. So this is one of the
Appreciate you, man.
And I appreciate your humbleness. And last question before we go, I always ask everybody this. What can you say to the entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, rather, who's on the sideline, want to get started in the business, but they're scared? They might have family and they're scared to mess up the money because of them, or they might not have family, but I don't know, student loan to anything. Whatever kind of crazy excuse people like to come up with these days, what do you want to tell that person that's on the sideline procrastinating and starting their business?
The same thing that I say almost every time somebody asks me that is, now is the best time in history to start a business. If you're ever going to do it, now would be the time. We have access to free information. We have access to resources. You can touch almost anybody that you want to connect with. And if you don't have the money, there's a way to figure out how to get funding, from other people, if your idea is good enough. So really, there aren't any excuses on whether or not you want to do it. And I also want to add this piece that I don't normally say. It's actually more risky to not start a business. It's more risky to not have ownership in anything. And we don't quantify risk enough in that manner. If you're going to work every day and you're already living paycheck to paycheck, you're living risky, because once you lose one paycheck, you could be homeless. And there's no retirement account for most people. They don't have a 401k or an investment account. And if they do, it's not very much in there. So when you reach retirement age and you can't work any longer, you're not going to have anything to show for it unless you own something. So I would say you don't have any choice but to pursue ownership and to pursue business. And even if you look at us and be like, I'm not like AJ or Randy, just think about it in terms of ownership. What am I going to own that will allow me to build wealth for my family? So maybe you and your wife get together and you decide we want to purchase one investment property every 2 or 3 years. And you just develop a portfolio. Over 10 years, you guys have 10 properties worth a few $1 million, bringing in monthly income. That's something simple that anybody can do. And you giving yourself enough time to do it. That can be your retirement plan. So just think of it in terms of what can I do to think long term as opposed to just now and what's in my face. Because our inability to think long term is going to wind up hurting us. Even if you're saving up $5,000 and investing in somebody else's business for equity is your play. Do that. Maybe you're the guy who helps fund the business instead of the guy who runs it. But at any rate, seek out financial education so that you can really learn what you're facing in this country of capitalism, is that if you're not attached to any ownership or business, then it's going to be very hard for you the older you get.
That's fact. I say everybody don't have to be an entrepreneur, but everybody definitely has to own something. And that's what it comes down to, man. Ladies and gentlemen, TallyandTwine.com. Make sure y'all go up there. Hey, you know what we forgot to do? I forgot to tell you this before. Can we get a CBN code or something?
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes, let's set that up. But okay. I don't know what you got, but maybe I'll put the code for the watches. If anybody want to go check out TallyandTwine.com, get a watch, put in the code. I'm gonna pin it to the comments and the YouTube video at the top. So everybody just use the code. I think we can use CBN. I don't know if it's available, but we'll use that. And then, but like I said, check the comments in the video on YouTube, and we'll use that code. Y'all go flood that website, get you a watch. I forgot to flash mine, but I'm out here. So make sure y'all check it. This is quality stuff. I took it into Macy's yesterday, I think, to get it sized. And this lady, she was, oh, what kind of watch? You know what I mean? She was liking that. So just want to point that to y'all, man. Make sure that y'all go to tallyandtwine.com. Check that out, man. Randy Williams, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
All right, thanks, man.